So, how much can you really impact your child's future, right? How much control do you really have over your child's future? So, as parents, I would like to suggest that we really shouldn't be just out here winging it, okay? There's some parents out here just like, well, I just need to make sure that they have a roof over their head and they eat and they have clothes and shoes on their feet and they get to school on time. Like, right? And so for some parents, you know what I mean? That's maybe the best they can do. But I feel like for a lot of us, those of us with special needs children, we have to be more intentional than that. Okay? For a number of reasons. But specifically for this reason, we have to be able to rewrite their future. And when I say rewrite, I feel like that if we're not intentional about their future, then we'll have to go along with the status quo or whatever the world says about our kid, whatever the world says will happen for our kid or to our kid. So let me tell you what I mean. So, if you watch my other videos, you'll see a common denominator, right? The plan for the schools, the plan for the state is pretty much that they want to do the best they can with their limited abilities. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that I don't necessarily agree. Why don't I agree? Because I'm a mother of a special needs child. My son has autism, okay? And he is now 25. And I took a different approach and it worked well for us, okay? So, again, their plan is to do the best they can with their limited abilities. Many children who are neurodivergent or on the spectrum, who have developmental disabilities, many of them have limited academics. Now, I actually know some people with autism. Hassan has a cousin who actually he has autism, but academically he excelled. But for many, they have limited academics. I mentioned before that Hassan reads on a second grade reading level. So because he has limited academics, it's like, well, this is what we need to work on because we have to try to catch him up to the normal kids as much as we can. Many children who have developmental delays, they have limited motor skills. Hassan had very limited motor skills. When he was little, those of you who know him, I don't know if you remember. I have to remind my family members. Hassan used to flap his hands. And he really couldn't use his fine motor skills very well. He couldn't button buttons or zip up zippers. And he couldn't tie his shoes. Like he had delayed fine motor skills. Like it's like his muscles in his hands and his wrists and his fingers were delayed. He had limited motor skills. He had to have an occupational therapist. And many of these children with developmental delays, they have very limited understanding. Um, when you have your baby, you go to their 3 month and 6 month and 12 month and 15-month checkups, and the doctor wants to compare them to what other children and infants are able to understand and what they're doing at these time periods, right? Are they able to roll over at 6 months? Are they able to do whatever at 2? Can they do this and do that? Do they understand how many words do they know? Can they say? Are they forming small sentences? Can they understand for you to tell them to go and pick up this and bring it back up? But for children with developmental delays, they have limited understanding. So these are the things we're going to just do the best with what we can. Okay. There's not anything wrong with that. The problem is that limits the child. How so? Well, in a lot of ways. But for me, what I did And what I suggest you do is that you want to do the best you can with their strongest abilities. I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to build those other things. I'm saying that the focus should more or less be on their strengths, not their weaknesses. And I've mentioned this before in another video. So, what you want to do is you want to identify what your child naturally gravitates to. So, for Hassan, my son, he gravitated to trains. So, what if he gravitates to trains? Let me tell you what that did for him. Not only did he gravitate, well, let me tell you a quick story. One day, whenever he was little, he was maybe like, I don't know, 8, and we went to a restaurant that was near a train track. So a train goes through, a train goes by, and we looked at him. We looked at the train outside the window, and we looked at him, and we were like, "Look, there's a train. It's just like Thomas the Tank Engine. You love Thomas." And he goes, "That train's not like Thomas at all." We're like, "Yes, it is. It's a train. Thomas is a train. That's just like Thomas." And he goes, "No, Thomas is a steam engine. He runs on coal and he puffs white smoke. That train has a diesel engine and it runs on diesel fuel and it puffs black smoke. That's not like Thomas at all." And we were like, "What?" You just taught me something about trains, sir. Right? And I'm thinking to myself, that was the first time I realized that trains were more than just a toy for him. It was like a hobby. It was like a real thing. He was learning real things about real trains. Okay? And now he has a YouTube channel and a following about trains. Okay? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to list the things that they do well. Okay? My son has a really good sense of direction. He always has. Okay? And so even now, he can catch 2 trains and 2 buses downtown Atlanta from our house. All I have to do is show him one time. Now, most people that don't have developmental disabilities, they admit that they're like, I wouldn't be able to find my way in Atlanta on regular MARTA. He doesn't catch like the paratransit. He catches regular MARTA. You show him one time and he can get wherever, or he can figure it out because he has a good sense of direction. If he didn't, then I'd be a little nervous about letting my son. He walks out this door. I don't drop him off at the bus stop. He finds his way downtown and back. And there, if he gets to a bus stop and he misses his bus, there's a different bus he can take going a different route, drops him off at a different spot, and he finds it. He walks home because he has a good sense of direction. That's something I know about him. That's a strength that we use, for him to have success as an adult. The third thing I want you to do is I want you to build upon what they can do. I learned at an early age, Hassan was maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7. And he had a television in his room and he was able to work the remote control. This is in the early years, whenever I was still learning what it meant for him to have autism, right? I don't know what that means as a young mom, as a new mom with a young child with autism. But whenever I realized he can work the remote control on the television, I'm like, if he can work that remote control, he can work the microwave. It's just buttons and knobs, right? And if he can work the microwave and the remote control, he can work the washing machine, and I can teach him skills. If he can learn this, it helps me understand how his brain can work, and he can learn other things. Because too many times, the schools will make you think that your child doesn't have the ability to learn. I mean, he can't read and he can't write and he can't do this, that, and the other. So, there's not much we can do with him. This is what I'm trying to help you understand. You'll learn more about your child, about what they can do, than what they can't do. That's what I want you to understand. Okay? So that's how you rewrite your child's future. Because if you're not paying attention to their strengths and you're only paying attention to their weaknesses, you'll never learn what they're able to do, and you won't understand how their brain works, and you won't be able to move them forward. All right? So, yeah. Do me a favor and like this video. Share this video with those that you know will benefit from this, and subscribe on my YouTube channel. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for watching.